I'm going to briefly touch on comparing Canada to our global competitors. So even within Canada, there are a couple of business or entrepreneur programs still available. There's something called the provincial nominee program. So each individual province can select people for immigration. And then the Quebec Investor Program. These programs are much less popular than the Startup Visa Program, largely because in the PNP, Provincial Nominee Program case, you start off with a business plan, a work permit, a signed performance agreement with the province, proving you've made the investment, proving you've created jobs, and only then the provincial government can say, yes, we will support you to get immigration. And then you would file your permanent resident application. So it's a long, drawn out, multi-step process, high risk because you have to meet certain milestones. The Quebec Investor Program is only, of course, for people going to Quebec. The minimum investment is 1.2 million, and the net worth requirement is one that, to me, is very tough because they look at every cent you've got. They want to know where it came from, tax records, everything. So it's very tough. Plus, of course, there's a language requirement now for the Quebec program. So if you want to go to Quebec, I'm happy to help you with that. But it's not as attractive as the Startup Visa program. The main competitor program to Canada in North America, obviously, for permanent resident status is called the US EB-5 program. You start the process by making a minimum investment of $800,000. So even before you file your I-526 petition, you have to have made that investment into what we call an RC, or regional center, which is the lowest investment level. You get 2-year conditional PR status. Source of funds is deeply investigated. You have job creation requirements, and it's a slow multi-stage process. And there's no interim work permit status available. We have many European programs, Singapore, New Zealand, Australia, all have typically interim status type requirements, much higher investment requirements, and the likes. In terms of key metrics to compare all of these different countries, does it offer a direct pathway to permanent resident status? In other words, once you file your application, is that it? If it's complete, everything is done properly, is that going to get you to permanent resident status? Or do you have multiple steps and milestones to meet in between? Canada does not. It's a direct pathway. Do you get unconditional PR? In the US, you have a conditional permanent resident status for 2 years. You have to meet certain requirements and apply to have those conditions removed. In Canada, once you get permanent resident status, that's it. No one is going to look at your business, whether or not it made a profit or not, whether it's successful or not. It's the business plan and the support from the designated organization that are key. Compare costs. The investment levels for most of these other options are much, much higher than Canada. Is there a net worth test? No, there is not. So that's not an intrusive process in Canada for the startup program, whereas in other countries, it's very, very involved. And then look at citizenship, because Canada, after 3 years of becoming a permanent resident, you can become a Canadian citizen. You get really high quality, globally recognized passport, visa-free travel to 188 countries. Even if you yourself don't meet the residence requirement to become a citizen right away because you're back and forth to home country, if your spouse and children are here, they can become Canadian citizens and are sort of your guarantee to be able to come back.